Have you ever felt like the weird one or the black sheep, the person in your family who sees the problem and can't unsee it? Well, this one's for you. And no, you're not crazy. You are actually breaking generational cycles. You're not just doing things differently, you are learning and unlearning, you're healing, you're growing, and you're starting to rebuild without a blueprint. That deserves way more credit than you're probably already giving yourself. This is probably the most common type of pressure that first generation immigrants, eldest daughters, women healing their family traumas, and anyone that just wants to break a cycle that they notice, a pattern that they notice in their family. This is the most common psychological pain that we feel. It's the emotional responsibility for everyone else. So if you are feeling guilty for wanting more in your life, or you're lonely because you're on this path of trying to break a cycle and do things differently than you've seen or grew up with, I want you to know that you're not alone. And there are thousands of us experiencing the same exact emotional transformation. Usually it's quietly, painfully, and powerfully. Who's out there? I don't know, girl. Breaking any cycle in your family or in your circle, in your social circle, in your life, in whatever setting you're in right now, it's not just about making more money or finding financial freedom. I think we a lot of times sensationalize that on social media, and that's not at all what breaking cycles is actually about. It's actually about doing things like choosing therapy, learning how to set boundaries, resting without guilt, not repeating toxic patterns. And on the point of choosing therapy, because I know that there are probably going to be a lot of minorities that are feeling this type of pressure to break cycles, and our families do not believe in therapy. No, 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 no. Hispanic parents do not believe in therapy. Our business is our business, and it's not anybody else's business. And if you had a religious upbringing, then therapy is going to church and talking to the Lord about it. But the point of choosing therapy, even when you've been told not to your whole entire life, is that you're choosing to work through your patterns in your life, and you're choosing to kind of unpack them with a professional. And if you are trying to get into therapy and you feel uncomfortable about it, then you should probably switch therapists, because therapy could be a very beneficial thing to people who have experienced extreme trauma in their lives. And the first step to understanding that is acknowledging that you've experienced some extreme trauma in your life. And the next thing you need to do is find professional help. Okay? Going to a religious institution all the time is not the best answer. But nobody taught me how to do these things. I had to learn it while I'm living it. Nobody taught me how to create a budget. I had to learn it. Nobody taught me how to shift my mindset. That was something that I had to learn, or that I learned through other life experiences. And that can be really exhausting. That can be really tiring, that you are just feel like you're always teaching yourself things. And it's this invisible pressure of being the first one, the leader, you know? But it is just what you have to do. There's no giants sometimes for you to stand on the shoulders of. So you have to be the giant that the people who come after you are going to stand on the shoulders of. Okay? And that's fine. That's okay. That's a positive thing. You need to change the narrative from being lonely, being the first one, being the only one, the fight, the struggle. That's also another narrative that we're taught to live in constantly, that everything is a fight and everything is a struggle and everything is difficult. And girl, it's exhausting. Like, do it for you, not for anyone else. Don't look for validation. Don't look for somebody to follow. Be the leader that you know you want to be in your own life. And like I said, if you need help, there is professional help out there for you to seek. If you need guidance, if you need mentorship, you can find those things. But being the first person in your family to do things differently, to want better, that's always a positive shift. It should be celebrated. You should never feel weird or outcasted for that. Healing sometimes means you lose connection with the people who aren't ready to heal with you. And that's going to be a really hard truth for a lot of people to hear and accept. But grieving the old version of your family and your life is sometimes necessary for you to rebuild, to rebuild a foundation, tear it all down and start over. There's a lot of grieving that comes with that, because there are going to be a lot of people that you have to leave behind. There are going to be a lot of people that aren't ready to get on the boat before it sails away. You know what I'm saying, so to speak. You have to come to terms with the fact that breaking cycles does come with loss. But a lot of that loss is making space for your new life, the new version of yourself. If you grew up in a really toxic environment and with a toxic family that you know it's time to cut off and you've kind of just been putting it off, I'm going to tell you right now, this is your sign to do it. Because there is no point in waiting for situations to get worse. There are ways that you can separate yourself from people in your lives without it having to be this dramatic downfall or falling out. But sometimes when you wait too long, that is what it turns into anyway, because you reach your wit's end. You reach your wit's end and then you get really estranged from your family members. And that sometimes is the harder way to do things, rather than just acknowledging that something needs to change and you'll be the one to take the initiative and change it. You're not selfish for doing these things. You are actually very, very brave. You're courageous. You're the first person to take the lead on this in your life, in your situation, in your family. Like, that is a big deal. Choosing yourself is not betrayal to the people around you. It's the beginning of your self-transformation. And the people who think that it is betraying them, it usually is coming from a selfish and narcissistic place that doesn't hold space with you. So you have to be willing to choose a better life, even when it's really, really lonely. Another thing that I think we are conditioned, especially me being from a Hispanic household, I was really conditioned to believe that a better life means having people involved in the decisions you make, and that's not necessarily true all the time. Sometimes it's okay to be alone in your thoughts and be able to process them so that you can lead the next step, instead of having so much influence from people that you don't even agree with a lot of the times. Being the first means that it's going to feel isolating. You're going to feel lonely, but you are clearing the path for the ones after you, especially if you want a family, or you have younger siblings, or you have nieces and nephews, or you have little cousins. You want them to be able to look at you and say, wow, they did things different. I love their mindset. I love how they took charge of their life and they did things differently. They're not like the rest of my family, and that's how I want to be. So, girl, I could talk about this topic for so long. I could literally talk about this topic forever. But if you feel like you are carrying your whole bloodline on your back sometimes, I want you to let me know in the comments. And I know how heavy it can get. So I just want to start opening up the conversation around it. And I would also like to start talking more about this idea of emotional liberation, especially for women who grew up in survival mode. So if that's you, then the next video in this series is most likely going to be for you as well. But thank you guys for listening, and know that you are on the right path. If you're watching this, then keep doing what you're doing. You are going to break lots of generational curses that you grew up with, and your life is going to be so much better for it.